Ken, I want to ask you about what's happening tomorrow, a protest plan in regard to the wind turbine. Your reaction to that protest?
Well, I'm not objecting to protests. I mean, the CAW, along with many progressive organizations, demonstrate constantly. In fact, in my report this morning, I've asked and solicited significant support on an amount of demonstrations that we have planned over a number of social and economic issues in the next couple of months. So, you know, I respect the right of those to demonstrate against our installation of the turbine, and I've asked our delegates today to respect their right to demonstrate in a very respectful manner. And again, I can appreciate their ability to go out there and demonstrate and show their resistance to it. But it's obvious to me that the decision has been made. It's obvious to me that we put a lot of effort into the decision to install a turbine to improve environmental sustainability moving forward. It's obvious to me in the last 7 or 8 years that we worked aggressively to meet all of the regulatory requirements dictated by law. We went over and above everything we've been asked of us in terms of ministry rules. In fact, the ministry rules prior to the installation asked us to hold off for a couple more weeks for they can analyze one more time before the installation that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. So we did everything according to the regulatory requirements, and quite frankly, we're proud of our turbine. And you know, people should know this decision just doesn't come from the National Executive Board. CAW Council delegates that are here today over the last 15 to 20 years said, hey, we want a center that's self-sustainable. We want a center, quite frankly, that's going to provide sustainability to a green driven economy. And we want to lead by example, and we're proud of it. But to answer your question, I also understand what the demonstrators are saying. I don't agree with what they're saying, but I respect their right to do so.
And you mentioned also that you feel that opposition to it might be dwindling, that you get a lot of emails in support of it. Do you feel that concerns are starting to be eased and that people
you know, I mean, I've put in a pretty good team. You know, needless to say, I'm incredibly busy with all the bargaining and political and social issues we have in the country, but I put in a pretty good team to respond to each and every email, and we've treated every concern that was raised to us with a great amount of respect and sensitivity. As I said this morning, Port Elgin has been our friends and neighbors for over 60 years. I came to this center for the very first time as a young kid, and it was cottage country. And we were the largest employer outside the Bruce Peninsula, and we still are today. And when you see the development of this community, and it's turned into a cottage community to a real decent city and tremendous growth, we're friends and partners in the growth of this community. So, you know, at the end of the day, quite frankly, this is, I think, one of the first differences we've had as community neighbors. And, you know, I think the protests will diminish. That doesn't mean that they agree with us. It means that you can protest and protest and protest, but we're within weeks of hooking up our turbine to the grid, and we have no intentions of reversing that decision.
Now, you're looking to form a committee with town council and some residents. There's been a little bit of concern voiced by the council. Are you doing anything to try and clear those up? Well,
I'm frustrated with the Municipal Council, to tell you the truth. I met with the Deputy Minister, our Deputy Mayor, when I was here, along with the Cottage Association 3 or 4 months ago, and I offered to them that, you know, that we would deal with any legitimate concerns. I mean legitimate concerns, not concerns that those that no matter what happens in this kind of industry that's obviously taken a face throughout Canada. All you have to do is go down 21 North, and all you got to do is go in Windsor and Essex in my hometown, and you can see that this is the growing economy moving forward. But I committed at that particular time, if there's any legitimate issues that needs to be addressed, we're going to do what every good neighbor does and respond to those particular issues, but they have to be legitimate. You know, we got to make sure that it's not an emotional issue, that the issues that we deal with are factual. And again, the Municipal Council, you know, sent us a letter with their ideas on the committee. We're in the process of responding to it. You know, I'm all in favor, and the CAW is all in favor. You just watched this morning of the kind of engagement, the debate, the kind of democracy we have in the union. We're all in favor of being good neighbors. But at the same time, quite frankly, good neighbors treat their neighbors respectfully also, and the issues that come up must be based on fact and not just some kind of rhetorical challenges that are out there. And we're going to do that. I mean, these are our neighbors. They're our friends, for God's sake. We've been here for 60 years.
Good.